Hey y'all, welcome back to Becoming Her. I have a great episode for you guys. This episode is titled Becoming Her While Tired, Still Healing, and Not Rich Yet. Baby, that is the truth. If I've never heard anything so real, that is it, baby. Because I feel like in this podcast, I've always stressed authenticity, vulnerability. And I feel like part of that is, baby, I'm tired, baby. I'm still healing, baby. I'm not rich. I'm not rich. And I feel like we don't want no internet version of nothing. We want reality version, the real meat and potatoes of everything. And in order for us to really build together, we got to be very real and authentic with each other, sis, me and you. So what that means is saying the truth, owning your truth, but growing through your truth. Still healing. Tired as hell. Tired. And not rich yet. These are important to just be honest about. And I feel like a lot of the times you look on the internet and it just looks like people are just all fine and dandy while they're talking about the great things that they go on. I love a Jay Shetty podcast. I love a whole bunch of podcasters, but it seems like they're already there. And they kind of lightly touch on the hard parts, but not when they're in it, if that makes sense. It's always once they've already gone in so big that it's almost like, do you really remember how that feels? Do you remember? Because it seems so far away, so it feels like they talk about it when their life is perfectly together or when their mental health is perfect or when the money is flowing. But who's going to talk about it when they're still in the midst or in the limbo of both of the worlds? So that's why I want to talk about it, like, so that growth can actually happen, not only for you, but for myself. We hold each other accountable, but we also hold each other's hands throughout it. You get what I mean? So I'm going to be transparent with y'all. I am not broken financially, but I do still have months where I might pay the big bills, like pay for my home, pay for my car, pay for the big stuff, the big meat and potatoes. And I'm like, whew, that took all the money. How am I eat tomorrow? Like I go through those things. Like, yeah, like I guess I'm the girl that goes on trips. Yes, I'm the girl that, has a decent car. I drive a Nissan Rogue. It's not an old one, but like I'm not here with like the Mercedes Benz or my dream car. I don't got that yet. No, I'm right in the middle of becoming her, right? So I feel like it's important to stop, smell the flowers, but also just be authentic with the process and then growing together. So I'm still building, I'm still stretching, I'm still being intentional, and I'm definitely still tired, baby. I'm still tired, I'm still healing. I have a lot to still work on, and I feel like it's important for us to go through that together. So let's get into this podcast. So I don't wake up to luxury mornings every day. I think I just touched on that. Like, I'm not like in this great glamorous part of my life. Some days I wake up inspired. Some days, I wake up overwhelmed. Some days I wake up motivated. And then some days I'm emotionally tired. I like just being honest with y'all. I have days where I have to sit with myself and just tell myself, if you can do anything today, just be quiet and be nice to yourself. Like some days it has to get like that, because as I'm becoming her, as I push to be better and better every day, there are days, like I stated in the beginning, I get tired. I get emotionally overwhelmed and tired. And I feel like this is hard. Like this is really, really hard. Like trying to become something that you've never seen nobody around you become, trying to hold yourself to discipline and accountabilities that you've never had to see anybody in your life do is difficult. I told y'all in the last episode, I'm a part of the 5 a.m. club now. And like I said, nobody in the 5 a.m. club actually wants to be in the 5 a.m. club. We force ourselves to be in the 5 a.m. club. But like I said, I be tired. Life is hard. And life can make you extremely tired. I could tell you just alone this week, baby, life was hard. Life was mean to me. And you know how hard it is to still try your best, to still show up as the best version of you, to still be positive, to still be loving, especially when the people around you are not loving and positive, especially when, you know, you're trying your best not to involve yourself in the stuff around you, the negativity around you. But you're like, did this girl just say, what'd she say about me? Oh, we can get into it. But you're like, okay, I don't want to backslide and get so easily back into the old version of who I am when I'm trying to pursue the new version of me. So I have to really think in my head, how would the future version of me deal with this? Because I'm trying to get to her. I'm not trying to go back to her. You know what I mean? So a lot of it is very tiresome. A lot of it is very emotional. My birthday's coming up. It's in December. So my birthday's coming up. And I've been fighting those birthday blues like crazy, y'all. Like, I'm trying so hard not to get low. I'm trying so hard not to allow my mental to disintegrate. And I have days where, unfortunately, the emotionally draining part of my brain wins more than the pushing motivated part. Like I said, I'm pushing myself every single day to do better. But sometimes those evil voices or those negative voices that tells you, oh, are you serious? Do you really think you can do that? Oh my gosh, I can't believe you actually up there talking to yourself on that podcast. Like, don't you think that's sad? Sometimes that version takes over. And on those days, I'm tired. I'm sad. Like, this is hard. And I feel like I have nobody. And I have to readjust myself to get back into the mindset of what I need to do. And I'm going to be honest with y'all. Sometimes my mindset doesn't change immediately. Sometimes I have to do it tired. Sometimes I have to do it unhealed. Sometimes I have to do it with not much money in my pocket. Like, sometimes, yes, it's not fun. Yes, I know I'm not where I need to be yet. Yes, I'm not the Raina who's motivated and can just get up and continue to do stuff, and she knows better, so she does better. Sometimes I'm not that, but I know what I'm supposed to be doing. And sometimes you just need to do what you know you're supposed to do on those days that you don't feel like you can do it, because at least, even though you're just going with you're just going with the day by day that you have made for yourself, at least it didn't push you backwards. At least you still went forward because you just did what you had to do for that day. So even though you did it tired, even though you did it unhealed, and even though you did it when you didn't feel like it, even when your mind wasn't in the right mindset to do it, you still did it, so you didn't fall back. You get what I mean? Like, sometimes it gotta get like that. Sometimes you gotta push yourself to be pushing yourself ahead, regardless of how you're feeling in that moment. And I want y'all to remember, like I said before, that two things can exist at both times. You can be grateful and exhausted. You can be growing and still triggered sometimes. You can be leveling up and still healing old wounds. And that's just the truth, y'all. That's just the truth. I am still in the midst of healing. I know that I have done so much work with myself that I'm a lot more healed than majority of the people that are around me. And I don't say that to be egoistic or cocky. No, I say that because I know I've done the work. I've done the work, y'all. I've read so many self-help books. I meditate. I wake up in the morning. I'm journaling. I go to therapy, not because I was ever forced or told to go to therapy, or because I'm, diagnosed with anything out of the ordinary. No, I do it because I have generational things that I know that I need to work through. I know that, my family, they would stop talking to each other when things were hard. They didn't have good communication skills. They weren't emotionally intelligent in certain aspects. So I went to therapy to learn those things. My sister went to therapy to learn those things so that we could be better communicators and be better parents in the future, be better children for our parents, even right now. So I know, but even with all of that said, I'm not completely healed. I have days where I do things and I pause and I'm like, Raina, why did you just do that? Sometimes my brain be working faster than my thoughts. And, well, did that even make sense? My actions be working faster than my thoughts. So if I had thought about it, I would have stopped myself. But unfortunately, that part of my brain wasn't there yet. And I may make a mistake or two. And I have to go in and just face the music and be like, you know what? Because everybody also knows that I'm working on myself. And I'll be like, you know what? My bad. My bad. And that doesn't happen too many times, but it happens. I'm still healing. I'm only human. I'm only a person. Sometimes people say really mean things and they get me low. And I have to, and sometimes I might be in my bed for a whole day, but I also have a rule with myself. I'm like, okay, you want to be sad? Okay, you're going to be sad, but that's your choice. You're choosing to be sad, right? So you're going to stay in that bed all day. You're going to stay in that bed all day. No, you can't get out the bed. No, you're not going to try to get out the bed. No, you want to be sad? Take this day to be sad. But tomorrow you will not have that day again. Tomorrow you get up and you do what needs to be done. And baby, when I tell you that next day I do not play with myself, I get out that bed real quick. Because that money, I missed it. That time was disappeared. And that puts me right back into motion. I'm not saying that's what y'all should do. I just say that's what I do. Like, okay, you don't want to get out the funk. You actually want to be sad. Okay, sit there in it. And I sit there in it. And by that second day, I'm like, I don't want to be here no more. That was not fun. I couldn't do nothing. I put myself basically on timeout. Baby, that wake me up so quick. And by that next time, I am not sad no longer. But overall, I also want y'all to remember to always give yourself grace. Grace within healing. Grace within being tired. Grace within the growing time. It's not easy to choose to do better. So be grateful for yourself for trying. Some of y'all might be thinking, okay, Raina, how do I become her while still healing? A lot of y'all need to take a step back and find what your core values are. Core values is what makes you be able to still progress even on those hard days that we spoke about earlier. Those values is what helps you to push through those hard times where you're healing and it hurts, but you still choose to do the right things in the moments where it hurts. Worse to do the right things than to just do what you wanted to do, which was not the right thing. You get what I mean? So you really need to do some inner work and figure out what the values are for that future version of yourself. I guess I'll let you on a little bit of examples of my values for that future version of myself, which I think I've already spoken about before. She's disciplined. She's soft but confident. She is strong, but she is not doing it all on her own. She just does not. She understands the fact that there can be strength and femininity, but she does not want to be if you ask her whether she wants to be strong or resilient, she's resilient. She does not always want to be strong. She's been strong before. She just decides that she deserves to live in her soft girl era. She is a girl who values peace over everything. She walks in love. She understands that the things of this world is less important to her than her peace and her inner self confidence and love. So if it's not of love, if it's not of peace, it's not that serious, because at some point you have to separate yourself from what's around you. And if they're not choosing peace, you cannot fight with crazy. You can always make sure to stand your ground and let people know what your boundaries are. But if they're choosing not to listen to it, you need to remove yourself. And if you can't remove yourself physically, do that mentally. Those are just some of my values. I can go into a little bit more one day if you guys want me to go into a lot more of my values. But knowing that those are my core values, if you ask me what are my two number one values, I would say walking in love and making sure my life is completely as peaceful as possible. Those are my two values. So if I know that if I'm doing something and it's not in love, then I have to take a step back. That's what the healed version of me does. So, and the healing version of myself does. So even though I might be in a space where something is happening around me and I know that, girl, if I could just give it to this girl one time, that would be great. And I don't mean like with my hands and that sometimes that mouth do more. That mouth do more damage than these fists. I'm telling you. But then I have to take a step back and I'll be like, okay, but is it in love? Can I look back on this time and see how this might have really tear down this person? And can I still look at myself and be like, Raina, that was in love? Everything I say has to be in love. If it's not in love, then I have to really take a step back and be like, did that align with your values? That's why I said with healing, in that healing space, becoming her while you're healing, you need to do the inner work and figure out what are your values, what are your cores, so that in the midst of doing anything that you're doing, that you make sure that you go according to those first and then everything else second. A lot of people have their values based directly off of the Bible, and I think that's great. I'm also a Christian, and mine are kind of similar. Like mine are close to the Bible, obviously. Like I feel like God would tell you to walk in love, but am I saying my core is directly exactly like word verbatim from the Bible? No, they're based off of the Bible. I think God would love for me to live in peace. But I think some people, since it's maybe you might not be in that space of being able to find your core values, I guess a good place for you to stop at is finding a verse that you feel like sits well with you, or finding a mantra, or finding just things that resonate really well with you that you can hold in your brain in those midst of those times that are really hard, that may be easier to fall into a different lane than where you know that you're supposed to be. Yeah. I feel like we've touched on tired and healing. So let's touch a little bit on broke, becoming her while, no, I didn't say broke, while not rich. Baby, make sure you say positive things in your brain, because that was a little bit of a slip. Becoming her while not rich. Okay, so it's important to make yourself feel great, feel rich, even when you're not rich. Sometimes it doesn't take a lot of money, it just takes mindset. A lot of things are right there in your fingertips without you even thinking about it. Sometimes you need to show yourself that you have value before the world aligns with you having value. Part of that could mean, y'all probably have already heard about this, but making sure you set aside some spa days for yourself. You know, you may not be able to go to the spa yet, but you might have a dollar store that that sells facials, and they might sell lip scrubs, and you taking those 30 minutes, not 30 minutes, that 1 minute daily to make sure you scrub your lips and to make sure that you put creams under your eyes or whatever, that shows yourself that you consider yourself valuable. Taking that day out of the week to make sure you do facials, to make sure that you sit in, if you have a bath, make sure that you sit in that hot bath, or make sure that you buy steamers at the dollar store and put them on the floor and have a lavender steamed shower. Shows that you value yourself. It takes you closer mindset wise to where you need to go in the future, so to what you deserve, to what you are claiming for your future. You may not be there yet. You may not have the money there yet, but you can show that you value yourself enough to align with that for your future. Yeah, so like I said before, becoming her doesn't mean that anything is perfect. You can become her in the midst of you becoming perfect, per se, but obviously perfection is only a mindset. So everything doesn't have to be perfect for you to become her. Remember that, y'all. And with that being said, that's the end of our podcast. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe, Bookie. If there's any other things you want me to talk about, make sure to put it down on the comments. And I'm grateful for the few of you that have been watching. I really do appreciate you guys. Keep me going in the times where I'm just like, yes. I think last video was 32 viewers. I really do appreciate it. I appreciate it, because how about if there was none, so even if there was none, y'all will still see me or not see me, because if there's none, nobody's seeing me. But I appreciate y'all. With that being said, see y'all next week. Bye.